This is the story called Our Fondest Childhood Memories. Growing up, even though I was bullied a lot, I had an amazing childhood. I loved to play with my friends at home and at school. We used to play lots of different games like Tigs off ground, where one person would chase everyone else and they weren't allowed to tig you if you were off ground. May I was where one person would say something like, "Take 10 fairy steps," and you'd say, "May I?" And if they said, "Yes, you may," then you did what they said. But if they said, "No, you may not," then you didn't do what they said. Kirby was a game where there was at least one person on either side of the road, and one person would throw the ball to the other person. If the ball hit the curb and bounced back to the person who threw it, then they'd scored and would say Kirby. But if the ball didn't bounce back to them, then they didn't score. Ice cream was one person would stand in front of everyone else with their back turned. If they turned round and caught anyone moving, then they'd be out of the game. But if someone managed to reach them and tag them, then they would then be at the front. Skipping was one of my favourite games, especially Dum Dum Dodo, which was where one person would jump in and skip and then another one would jump in and chase them. I remember that sometimes the adults would join in too, which was hilarious. When I played with my siblings, we played schools, and one of us would be the teacher and the rest of us would be the pupils. We also played mums and babies. One of us would be the baby. When it was too wet and cold to play outside, we would get a tape recorder and record ourselves singing silly songs and saying silly things. When my younger brother Danny was really little, I would take him with his trucker or his Tommy Turtle to the top of the street on the other side to where we lived. He'd sit on the front of his trucker or Tommy Turtle and I'd sit on the back and hold him on, and we'd go from the top of the street to the bottom really fast. When I wasn't playing with my friends or family, I loved to play by myself. I'd make mud pies and my mum or dad would ask me what was for dinner or tea, and I would give them the mud pie and they'd pretend to eat it and say it was delicious. When I wasn't making mud pies, I would put a tennis ball inside an old sock or an old pair of tights, stand with my back against the wall and toss the ball from one side of me to the other, which, as you can imagine, drove my parents crazy. Sometimes when I played on my own, just next to our garden, I would sing a song called "I'm a Texas Girl" and do the actions even though I can't sing for toffee. When I was in primary school, I loved to play in the windy house. In the playground we used to play Wallflowers, Farmers in His Den. What time is it, Mr. Wolf? I used to love it when the school staff would join in and play with us. At middle school we used to play What Shall We Do with a Drunken Sailor, where a group of kids would stand hand in hand and quite close together, and someone would sit on their hands and would be tossed up in the air. I did it once but never again because it scared the life out of me. I remember Mr. Woodruff once putting me in either playtime or lunchtime detention, but I can't remember what for. All I remember is I was playing with my friends in the school playground and he grabbed hold of me and took me inside to do the detention. When I was in high school, I used to ask if I could go to the toilet, and I'd sneak off and stand outside other classrooms and watch the other kids doing their dance class, or sometimes I'd watch the kids from the theatre arts practising for a school play. A lot of the time I would be sent out of the classroom for messing about. I would stand outside the classroom and pull faces at my friends through the window in the classroom door, which, as you can probably guess, got them into trouble too. As a teenager, no matter where I went, I would take my ghetto blaster with me, and I would have my music playing full blast. I even took it to school sometimes. I remember not just playing my music full blast, but singing along to it too. I also remember walking through the street singing songs from the film Annie, which got me the nickname Annie. Growing up, my favourite time of year was the summertime because we could play out until around 9 p.m. We'd have huge water fights and would play in each other's paddling pools. I remember running around wearing nothing but a bikini or a swimming costume. My favourite part of the summer was when me and my family went on holiday. I remember when we used to go to Primrose Valley. There was two parks, a normal park that was free and a park which I think was mostly trampolines, and you had to pay to get in. I used to love going on the puffer train to and from the beach. I remember how we used to walk along the beach to Filey. I remember there was a huge paddling pool that me and my big sister Lisa loved to play in. I don't think my brother Danny was born then. At night we always used to go in the club, which was right opposite our caravan park. Now that I've shared all of my fondest childhood memories with you, I'm going to share with you the childhood memories that other people have shared with me. Facebook. I always remember the school production of Sweeney Todd. I think the year was 1982, and my best friends, who were twin girls, were cast as policemen, and I was so jealous and chuffed for them at the same time. But they were amazing. I always remember their lines, hello, hello, hello. What's all this then? I mind how you go. This is such a fond memory for me. Facebook. We lived on the Fairfields at the top. We lived on the Fairfields at the top, less than 100 yards from the park. I played rugby in the winter and cricket in the summer. My mum would shout from the back window, Roger, Christopher, your tea's ready. We also played in the street and kick can and up it was our favourite game. We also played marbles, also known as cleats, on the grass verge where the grass had worn away and it was just hard soil. Then there were Sundays out on our bikes. One week it would be York, the next Bolton Abbey. My parents didn't seem to worry as there wasn't a lot of cars around then. Also there was always the Saturday morning trip to the Pavilion Cinema with hundreds of other kids screaming and shouting at the cowboys or whatever. Then there was the conquering season on our bikes to Tadcaster, where there were some fantastic trees. Then we would sell them in the playground on a Monday morning. This was about the time we would start jumping for bonfire night. There was the blackberry picking season that we used to look forward to, because my mum made great jam. I loved school as I liked plenty of sport. I never moved off of Flame for my schooling. Infants at the top, down to Bramley National School for the juniors, then back up of Flame for the seniors. I was just over average for my school reports, but it was sports I was into. I played rugby, cricket and swam for the senior boys. I even had a go at cross-country running. It was in my last year of school that I started taking an interest in girls. Facebook. I remember my mum giving me 5p to spend in the school tuck shop. I would always buy a packet of smoky bacon crisps, which were 4p, in and an unfrozen ice pop for a penny. You bit the end off and drank the juice. Then the crisps went up to 4.5p, and I had to ask for another half p every day. There are two things that spring to mind. One is inflation and the other is the schools. They don't have tuck shops now as they are considered unhealthy. Facebook. I remember getting chased by the bailiff whilst fishing on private property. There were a few occasions when we had fish with us to put in our mate's pond. I remember when we played Knockdown Ginger, we'd knock on people's doors and run off. We ran so fast no one could catch us. Facebook. I always remember you, Julie, walking up Ganner's Mount. I was about 7 or 8 at the time. You always said hi to me and Sarah with a boombox stereo and music blasting. I loved you. Nice memories. Facebook. There was a school trip to Adrian's Wall in 1971, and halfway there we stopped at a tuck shop. So me and my mate went in, and it was an old lady. Can I have a quarter of them sweets on the top shelf, please? Up the ladder she went. We stuffed Kit Kats, Mars bars, marathons, you name it, we got it and handed them out on the court. The teachers were outside smoking, and this lass ate so much she was sick and grassed us up. We got to the wall, but we didn't see it as they made us stay on the court. Assembly Monday morning, Charlie Gardner said Thompson and Fodder on this stage now. Well, he was big mates with Peter O'Toole, who had blasphemed the good name of Intake. Bend over. It went deadly silent. 6 of the best on my backside. A little tear trickled down my cheek, but I didn't cry. Fodder bent over. He got the same, stood up and said, my mother hits me harder than that. OMG, I thought, just shut up. I remember Harrison and Whiteley, the PE teachers, were the worst primsole on your bare bum in the shower. I couldn't begin to describe the pain. Facebook. I love Broad Lane School. I have a vague memory of my first day. I was crying so much. I was stood next to a man playing piano in assembly, and it calmed me down. I remember the school plays, Noah one year and the Pied Piper of Hamlet another year. They were great to be a part of. I remember Mr. Epps' Friday quiz and standing in the playground trying to learn the answers. I was vice captain of Green Team when I was in Miss Laurie's class. I learned to play the trumpet, not that I can play it now though. I remember the school trip to Belgium and eating foreign food that made me sick. I remember singing Brown Girl in the Ring by Boney M on the park at playtime. I loved it. I have hardly any memories of high school because I hated every second of it. Facebook. I hated high school, but I have such fond memories of Broad Lane. Miss Kezia was my first teacher, and she sent me to play in the Wendy House on my first day because I was crying. I also remember Mr. Two, the science teacher, Mrs. Hatfield, Mrs. Cook, and Miss Murray, to name a few. I love Christmas time with Christmas pudding complete with real sixpences hidden inside. It wouldn't be allowed these days. Running round Bromley Park, I hated that. Miss Joel, the headmistress, used to cane naughty pupils. Fortunately, I just used to visit her for gold stars. Facebook. I remember hedge-hopping through the Fairfields and building dens out of old doors, etc. before bonfire night. The end. Hope you like it. Thank you.